Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It's a wonderful day here, and I'm glad to be your host for tonight's event. My name is Abdulatif, and I'll be the moderator for today's event. So, as we've started the AWS series, uh, presented live to you from Arthurite. Yesterday was a very insightful session from right. Yesterday was a very sorry for the background music. So let me just start again. Good evening once again. It's good to be with you. And my name is Abdulatif from Authorite. And this evening we'll be having another interesting session. Uh, so yesterday, we had Paul and Nomso discuss to us about serverless, especially discussing about AWS Lambda. And today, we'll be having Abdurrahman and Mutunrayo discuss securing the cloud, leveraging AWS identity, access management, and security tools. But before we commence, I would like to know those that have joined us. So please kindly share your favorite emoji in the chat box section. Kindly introduce yourself. Tell us where you are joining from. Remember, yesterday the moderator mentioned that we have vouchers for people who are participating actively in our series. So it will be nice to hear from you, to know that you are with us before we kickstart the program. Like I told you, like you've seen, for those that joined yesterday, you will notice that yesterday was a very great one, very insightful one, looking at the topic that was discussed and looking at the hands-on session. So I trust that today will be of no less standard. So anticipate today, but before then, let me hear from you. I've not seen anyone's comments. Are we saying there's no one joining yet? Hello. Okay, so as I'm anticipating your response, I would just like to talk about the topic, like give the topic of today's once again, the topic is securing the cloud, leveraging AWS identity access management and security tools. And without wasting much of our time, okay, I can see Paul. Paul is already well. Thank you for joining. So without taking much of our time, I'll be introducing the speakers for today. We have Mutunrayo Sanusi and we have Abdurrahman, but we'll be having Mutunrayo to take us through why Abdurrahman will join in. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mutunrayo Sanusi to take on the presentation. All right. Hello, Mutunrayo. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Good
it's so
evening.
good to have you join the session. And I don't want to say anything about the topic. I'm very sure you are ready for us and you are packed. So, not to in a way disturb the show for tonight, I will let you have the stage to have your presentation while I joins you later. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for joining. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mutuayo Sanusi, and today we're going to be discussing securing the cloud with leveraging AWS identity, access management, and security tools in the cloud. So, to start with, I'm going to be asking a very important question. At what point do you consider security? Is it when you are deciding, when you are setting up, or after you encounter an issue in the cloud? Or after you encounter an issue in the cloud. So kindly drop a comment in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Thank you. So to start with, on why cloud security matters, I'm going to be sharing two examples. The first is on Capital One. In 2019, Capital One had a huge data breach because their AWS web application firewall was not properly set. This could have been avoided if they had configured their web application firewall correctly, and they had used AWS config to monitor changes and apply strict access controls with AWS IAM. Also, in 2024, Snowflake had a similar issues. Hackers used stolen credentials to access sensitive data from over 100 clients, which could have been stopped with AWS IAM, enforcing strong authentication rules, also using the AWS MFA for added security, like two-layer security, and Amazon GuardDuty to detect unusual activity early. So, in case you are wondering why is this important to you, and to answer my question on why you should consider cloud security, the first question I asked in the beginning of this session, when you should consider cloud security, the answer is very simple. You should consider security at every stage, whether when you're deciding and you're choosing your cloud services, whether when you are setting up your environment or when you're managing it after deployment. Security should always be your priority, and it will help you if you are proactive enough by staying ahead of security threats and keeping your data safe. So let's talk more about why cloud security matters. First, cloud security matters now more than ever because more businesses are moving into cloud. And as more businesses move into cloud, they become targets for cyber criminals. First, let's think about it. The rise in cloud-based threats. The more data we store in cloud, the more attractive it is for attackers. So as you're storing your data in the cloud, more threat hunters are trying to get your data out of the cloud. Secondly, you should also remember the shared responsibility model, which is you should also remember the shared responsibility model. AWS only handle the security of the cloud infrastructure, and it is up to you as a business owner, as a security engineer, or as a solutions architect to secure your applications, your data, and how people have access to them. Thirdly, the samples of the impact I gave earlier on, of data breaches I gave earlier on, show when your organization experience a huge data breach, it will cost your organization a lot of money and it will damage your reputation and even cause legal trouble. So another question I have for you today is, let's assume right now in this webinar series, you get a notification that, oh, your bank information has been compromised due to a data breach from your bank. I'm very sure that the very first thing every one of us is going to do is to remove their money from that particular account. And I doubt you ever trust that bank again. So that is why security is very important in gaining the trust of your customers. And which is why at every stage you must take security very important. So I've given five key reasons why cloud security is important. First, data protection. Cloud security helps to protect your sensitive data from hackers or from accidental loss. Also, it helps you to meet regulatory compliance rules like GDPR rule, like HIPAA that protects customers' data. Then business continuity. With cloud security, your business can make plan for what happens after you experience a data breach or if your applications are down. With cloud security, it will ensure that your business and your critical data and your apps are still accessible even when there is an incident going on. Then cost savings. The amount your organization is going to lose from a data breach is very huge. But with security, you'll be able to save more by preventing this data breach from happening in the first place. And you'll be able to prevent your organization from spending big on damage control. Then finally, reputation. With cloud security, you can build your customers trust, and also protect your business name. So we're looking at one of the major AWS tools for cloud security, which is the AWS Identity and Access Management. The AWS Identity and Access Management, also called AWS IAM, is a service that allow you to create and manage users, groups, and permission, ensuring that only the right people have the right access to certain information. Please note down, only the right people have the right level of access to certain information. For example, you're not going to give every employee in your organization the same level of access. Some data will be access to some data will be based on your role, your level as an employee. So there was one time I saw a meme concerning an intern accidentally deleting the customer's database. An intern is not supposed to have that large amount of permissions to delete the entire database of the organization. So in case you are wondering, how does AWS IAM help to secure your environment? There are different ways AWS IAM helps to secure your business. First is granular control. With IAM, you can give users only the permissions they need, nothing more. This ensures that they can't access anything that they should not by using granular control. Then MFA. With AWS IAM, you can create MFA, which is and MFA. What MFA does is adds an extra layer of security by requiring users to verify their identity with a second method of verification, like entry a code that is sent to their phone. Then AWS IAM also provides like a central management to manage all your users' permission in one place, saving time and reducing errors. Then tracking and auditing. AWS IAM works with CloudTrail, which I'll be discussing later on in this section. With CloudTrail, you can track users' access and actions, which is great for maintaining security and meeting compliance requirements. Then finally, with AWS IAM, you can give temporary access to resources and even people. Sometimes you have external contractors coming to work with your organization, so you can give them temporary access, and it will help to minimize the risks of long-time credential theft. So moving on. Okay, so at this point, I have a question to ask. What kind of in your organization, how do you manage access to resources in your organization, and do you use IAM, or is there any other tool you are currently using? So aside the AWS IAM, we have other security tools which I will be other key AWS security tools which I'll be discussing. These tools address various needs such as monitoring, protecting against attacks, and managing encryption. And so we'll be looking at some of these tools. The first on our list is the Amazon GuardDuty, which is my colleague um Abdurrahman is going to be discussing more on and giving us a live demonstration on Amazon GuardDuty. I'm just going to explain briefly what Amazon GuardDuty is and what it does. So Amazon GuardDuty uses machine learning to detect unusual activities such as unauthorized access or potential malware information infections in your AWS environment. It can help you stay on top of any potential threats, giving you the ability to quickly respond to these threats. Then we have the AWS Cloud Tray, which helps to track um, all API activity in your AWS account. It ensures accountability by logging every action taken and helps you with forensic analysis if any suspicious activity occurs. So for example, with AWS CloudTrail, you can know the user that access these resources at a particular time, when they accessed it, and what they did with it. Okay, sorry. So then we have the AWS config, which continuously monitors your AWS resources and checks them against your organization compliance standards. It also helps to ensure that you stay aligned with your security policies over time. We also have the AWS Shield, which helps to automatically protect your environment or your applications against distributed denial of services attack, keeping your services up and running at all time. It also helps to maintain the availability of your service even when it is under attack. Then the last on my list is the AWS KMS, which helps to simplify the creation and management of encryption keys. It also ensures that your data remains encrypted and safe from all unauthorized sources. So there are several tools that we can discuss, but because of time constraints, this is just the five that I'll be talking about. And before I hand over to my colleague to give us a live demonstration on AWS GuardDuty, I'll be giving us some of the best practices for for securing your AWS environment. So the first is least privilege access. Always give users and applications only the permission they absolutely need. Don't make mistakes. Don't give them more than what they need, or what more than what they need access to. Don't give like top management access the same level of permissions that you give to top management to an intern. Also, ensure that every user enable multi-factor authentication on their critical account to add an extra layer of security in their account. Then VPC and network security. Isolate your resources in a virtual private cloud to keep them secure. Use security groups and network access control lists to control the flow of traffic to and from your resources, ensuring that only trusted connections can access them. Then another best practices is logging and monitoring. It is crucial that you have visibility into what is happening in your cloud environment. So you're not just be working vaguely. So enable AWS CloudTrail for auditing API calls and AWS CloudWatch for real-time monitoring. Also set up CloudWatch alarms to get notified if there's something unusual happening in your account. Then data encryption. Sensitive data should be encrypted. You can use the AWS KMS to manage your encryption keys and make sure that your data is encrypted both at rest and in transit to keep it safe from unauthorized access at all times. Then lastly is to automate security. You can automate security to ensure that your environment stays secure at all time. You can use the AWS config to monitor your resource for compliance. You can use the Amazon GuardDuty to detect threats, and you can use the security hub to keep everything aligned with your security standards. So, okay. So to wrap up, at this point, we have covered like the basic of cloud security, IAM and other major AWS security tools. So I'll be handing over to my colleague to give us a live demonstration on the AWS Guard Duty and discuss more on how it can help businesses in threat detection.
All right. Thank you very much, Mutrayo. That was a great uh, session. So, good evening, everyone, and I will be discussing with us Amazon GuardDuty and also showing a demo on how we can enable GuardDuty in our AWS environment, and also showing some new features that Amazon GuardDuty actually has. So kindly confirm you can hear me in the comment section. Please kindly confirm you can hear me in the comment section. All right, that's great. So today basically, so let's talk about Amazon GuardDuty. Muturia has explained to us the need for security, and to be sincere, security is not something you can left behind in the world of technology today. And in the traditional way of security, we know is that security is being implemented probably at the end of deployment of a service or a kind of a production. But now, the way technology is actually going now, the technology time we are here now, security actually has to be implemented in every stage, as my colleague has actually mentioned. So a company or a business who is trying to innovate or who's trying to grow cannot leave behind security, because how can you even grow without taking security along with you? For instance, a bank who has details of who has data of customers, who are actually using a service, can never underestimate the need for security of their service. Because if customer sees that their data has been breached, or their data is now available on the public, in the public, they will definitely not partner, they will not work with, or they will not actually patronize that institution, right? So you can't innovate we can't innovate without security, right? So we are looking at Amazon GuardDuty, and what's Amazon GuardDuty is a security service that AWS actually offers, and it helps in detection of threat in your AWS environment, right? So here, I'll be explaining the GuardDuty, then showing us a kind of brief demo on how it works, right? So, Amazon GuardDuty, as I said here, is a threat detection service that uses machine learning, anomaly detection, and integrated threat intelligence to identify and also prioritize threat. So after we understand that Amazon GuardDuty is a threat detection services, that if is any threat working around in your environment, Amazon GuardDuty detects it, then raises an alert, right? So first of all, it identifies that malicious activity, or suspicious activity, then it sends an alert. Then I said here that continuous security monitoring of AWS account workloads and data stored in S3 is also is also a service that Amazon GuardDuty actually offers, right? So consider Amazon GuardDuty as a guard in your company that walks around, that looks around to see if there's any threat in or any suspicious activity in the environment of the company, right? So, and also ensuring that the data you keep somewhere in your the data you keep in your storage, or a kind of resources you kept in in your storage, are actually saved there. So moving forward, I will be showing us how GuardDuty actually works here. And so yeah, how does GuardDuty actually works? So GuardDuty monitors such as CloudTrail logs, S3 plane events, Amazon EKS control plane logs. it actually gathers all this, all these logs. Once it ingests all these logs, then it begins to analyze them, right? So basically, GuardDuty works behind the scene for suspicious or malicious activity, right? Right. So the best part is that, I know I mentioned all these logs. You don't have to enable them before GuardDuty starts to work. So it works automatically. Start to work, then it pulls data from these key resources, then start to detect threats in your AWS environment, right? So um, these are the data source I mentioned earlier, the BBC flow logs and other data logs. So now, threat detection types. Now, how does Amazon detect type? So detect threat on the AWS environment. It detects it in two ways. First of it is the threat intelligence, and also we have anomaly detection. So the threat about or focuses on the known threats that are already been flagged as dangerous in the security world, such as what malicious IP addresses or suspicious domain names that that has been known to be a threat. So Amazon GuardDuty threat intelligence gather all this data and put this massive list of this known threat and see if that kind of threat is actually occurring in AWS environment, then it raises an alert, right? And all these threats we mentioned in Amazon GuardDuty threat intelligence, they are constantly updated by AWS with its partners that helps in identifying threats, right? So once the threat is gathered, they are being stored in Amazon, logs with their partner actually, and then once it's noticed in your environment, it raises an alert. So I made an example here. An example is of a kind of conversation or a kind of uh, communication of command and control channel. And here we can explain this as what a situation where a compromised system in your environment start to communicate with a C2 server. And a C2 server here actually means a known malicious server used by attackers to control infected machines. So once GuardDuty detects this connection or this communication, immediately it raises a finding. So why? Because the C2 server is what is among the known bad list that Amazon GuardDuty threat intelligence has in its repository. So this is a established threat, in your AWS environment, damage to your AWS environment, right? So I think that's about threat intelligence. And here we also have another threat detection type, which is anomaly detection. And anomaly detection here works with a machine learning. So it's a kind of threat type that work with machine learning. So now we mentioned that uh, the threat intelligence actually look at known threat. So how do we detect unknown threat? Then Amazon anomaly detection actually comes in here, right? So, how does it work? Let me explain that. It begins to observe your account. So, in machine learning, machine learning learn through data. So, it begins to observe your account and create a baseline of normal activity. So, your account, you've been using it, like you've been entering some, you've been calling some APIs in your account, and the anomaly detection will be monitoring all these activities within, let's say, 18 to 45 days, the way it was actually stated in AWS, right? Between 18 to 45 days, it will try to understand your activity. Then later on, if it could see that you are actually doing against that activity, then it raises an alert. So this baseline actually works like a behavioral fingerprint for your environment, and it notices the API calls that's coming in, the login locations, and some other things. So let me give an example for this to for us to understand this better. So you typically you do have an API call in your company location, let's say in United States. So you've been having this API call from United States, but suddenly you just notice that this API call is now coming from another location, let's say from Nigeria, then trying to access your sensitive data on S3. That's a big red flag. Amazon anomaly detection actually, see that activity, then it raises an alert. So that's how an anomaly, detection actually was. It detects anomalous behaviors. So right, so this process allows GuardDuty to catch on unknown threats that don't rely and they don't rely on pre-identified IPs or domains, as I actually stated in the threat intelligence. So now after GuardDuty actually detects this thing, and I've given examples of how it detects, then it actually puts these findings or detections in severity level. So we have the low, we have the medium, then we have the high level. So the low level, it actually means that now there's a threat in your account, and it notices it then puts it maybe, okay, this threat or this activity actually needs a a serious attention. Then you know that, okay, you need to, the security analyst or the security engineer in charge will have to address it immediately. So it's either low or medium or high. So when it's high, then it calls for urgent attention, right? So, and actually that's that one, the findings. Now, so what happens after the finding is, after a threat is found? So first of all, you get an alert, and GuardDuty send you details of this suspicious activity. Then you investigate. You investigate to some AWS tools, such as AWS CloudTrail or Security Hub, or you can dig deeper with some other security services. So now, once you detect this, then you do what? You take action. So I beside these findings, I put some other AWS services, other security tools that can be used for further investigation after you've found any threat in your AWS environment. So we have Amazon Detective, which I've explained earlier, just like an in-depth investigation of anything that happens that Amazon GuardDuty actually detects. So we have Security Hub, which serve as a kind of aggregate of all security service that AWS offers. Then it puts them in prioritization. And we have Amazon CloudWatch, where you can then integrate uh, alert, where you can just send a notification to the security analyst in charge of your security. So yeah, after this, we need to look at. So I'll be having some demo to show us how Amazon GuardDuty actually works on the AWS Management Console. So I would like to share my screen here. Can we confirm? So please confirm if you can see my screen. Please can you confirm you can see my screen? All right. So on the console here, you go on search on Amazon GuardDuty. I'm hopping on Amazon GuardDuty here. Okay, so once you get to the console, you have Amazon GuardDuty. Then you click on Get Started. Then you have to enable. So Amazon GuardDuty actually has 30-day free trial you can start with. So you enable GuardDuty. then it's pop up the message you successfully enabled GuardDuty. Then yeah, the findings I was trying to explain earlier on the severity levels. So you have the low, medium, then high, then critical. Then yeah, what we'll be trying to do now is to look out for some findings that Amazon GuardDuty actually has in the repository. So I'll be clicking on the findings here. So I don't have any findings here because there's no threats currently attached to GuardDuty here. So I will go on findings so that I can check on sample findings from AWS from Amazon GuardDuty. So I click on generate sample findings. So immediately I click on generate sample findings, pop out the message successfully generated sample findings. Then I go back to findings here and see various findings on the GuardDuty page. Okay, great. So we have a sample finding here. It said a potential data compromise one or more S3 buckets involving a sequence of actions associated with AIM. So it rates this detection as what's critical. So immediately, I'm the security engineer here. I'll try to click on it and know and see more information on that detection. Now, here it said a sequence of actions involving 14 signals indicating a possible credential compromise. Compromise one or more S3 bucket was observed for IAM user John Doe. So yeah, a IAM user John Doe actually assess uh, a S3 bucket, which actually might bring to a compromise that might be malicious, and Amazon GuardDuty actually detect that and sends a message. So there are more than one findings here that you can actually see. So know how Amazon GuardDuty actually works here, right? So we also have there's this features on Amazon GuardDuty, which is a new feature actually, malware protection for S3. So and how does this work? The malware protection for S3 actually ensures that every your bucket, I mean your S3 bucket, is actually secure. So if you upload a malicious file to your S3 bucket, Amazon GuardDuty, once you enable this malware protection, it detects that kind of threat, then it sends you a message, right? So let me show how this actually works. And I see this service as a very good one. You don't have to have a a system or a kind of infrastructure to still download antivirus before you can then detect to be updating all this stuff. But AWS actually does that for you. GuardDuty actually does that for you. So simple. So if you want to try that, you can definitely enter your bucket S3 bucket details. So I'll just browse here and it will pop out the bucket I actually have on my S3, which I've created for some a while ago. So I click on this, then I select. So after selection, then there's this tag scan object. So if a guard actually scans the bucket, and so once it detects a threat on it, it's actually tagged that object details, that object, then it gives the details about it, that okay, there's a threat here, threat found here, no threat found here, or it might be even unsupported or access denied, right? So service access. Now, GuardDuty actually needs you to give an authorization for it to scan on your S3 bucket. Then you give it a role name, then you enable, right? Or you even use an existing service role for that. So you can pick on any service role here, then you attach it to it, then you enable. So after enable, let's wait for it to load. So once it's enabled, you'll be able to see if any occurrence occurs that an object was uploaded and that object is contains malicious file or contains malicious things in it, Amazon GuardDuty actually detects that and raises an alert, right? So I think that's how that works, and that's what we'll be showing on Amazon GuardDuty. I hope you've learned something on that. So I would like to stop sharing now and go back to the slide to give a conclusion on what we've been doing. So um, all right. So in conclusion, we said here that security should be a top priority at every stage of using AWS service. So whether you are planning your cloud use or setting things up or dealing with issues by using tools like AWS IAM, Identity Access Management, Shield, GuardDuty, and CloudTrail, business owners and individuals can protect their data and resources. So here we are saying here that security is not only meant for business owners alone. We as an individual, we also need to secure our data because we mostly live most of our life on data. You do transaction is on data. You log into this website. You know, yeah, it's your data there, right? So these tools help you to keep your AWS environment safe from threats, and so you can also focus on your growing business. And remember that it is better to secure your environment now than to deal with the consequences of a security breach later. Thank you very much for being with us from the beginning, and we appreciate your support. And I would like for you to contact us. We have our phone number here and our email to contact you. And also, don't forget that we have our Arthurite, our AWS partner event holding on January 29. And it be there. So we'll be showing some demos on how you can use AWS Cloud to improve your business efficiency and also secure yourself. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. That was awesome. Yeah. It's so nice to have you guys and and I know our audience has really gained a lot today, and yeah, a lot has been said really, and seriously, this session was actually a period of learning and relearning. So please, I can see someone has dropped their favorite emoji. Please, let's use our favorite emoji to show how impactful, insightful, and so uh, interesting the session is. Please, I want to see our response. Wow, thank you. Camera joins. Thank you, Insika Ume. I can see. I notice. I can see from your emoji that you've really gained a lot. Really, to be frank, security is not something to be joked with. When you talk about IAM, if you joke with security, like Muturiel said in the first two case study that he gave, the cable main one and the other industry, you see how security really affected their business. So, and a lot of things have been said. Some key things that you need to do when you are handling the security: least privilege. This is something that during my cloud learning journey, this is being re-emphasized and re-emphasized, and that's what some our speakers also shared with us. They also talk about some tools like Amazon GuardDuty and all. I know you guys have jotted a lot down, so I don't need to take a lot of our time. So I'll be going straight to the questions that we have. I know our speakers will be willing to. So I think this question will go for Abdurrahman, and the question from Imran Abdulaziz goes thus: are there any cost optimization strategies for using GuardDuty? Abdurrahman, do you get that? Hello. Muturayo, if you are on, maybe you could take the question. Let me read the question again. Are there any cost optimization strategies for using the GuardDuty? So I think anyone can take the question.
Hi, good
Sorry.
evening. Please confirm me. Okay. I think Abdulrahman is back. Abdulrahman, are you back?
Okay, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
I,
the So once again, the question is, what is are there any cost optimization strategies for using GuardDuty? So I think this person is trying to see, oh, Amazon services, some come with cost. Maybe they want to know what's the cost implication and how to optimize cost optimization strategies for using GuardDuty. So please,
All right.
uh,
So thank you very much for that question. Right. So how do you optimize costs while using GuardDuty? First of all, you need to firstly evaluate on what do you want to use GuardDuty for, right? So that it can actually match your security requirements, so that you can't just go ahead and engaging in some things, some security services that don't actually concern you, right? So you Amazon GuardDuty has this 30-day free trial, which you can actually use at the start. Then you begin to you know cut the cost later on. And to be candid with you, Amazon GuardDuty is not that costly, to be sincere. So you just have to ensure that what you are using there is what you need. Do you get? So I hope that answers the question.
oh, thanks so much, Abdurrahman, for that precise answer. So we also have another question from Ibrahim, which goes that what is the use case of S3 standard and I want to believe it's S3 Glacier Deep Archive. So I think this is outside the copy, but outside the topic a little bit, but it's still some. I think it's something that our speaker can still handle. They are talking about what is the use case of S3 standard and S3 Glacier Deep Archive. Yeah, I don't know. Muturayo, do you want to take it up or Abdurrahman? Anyone? I think this is a
Okay,
generic question.
I think I can answer the question.
Okay, thank you.
So, simply put, the S3 standard is for when you need quick access to your data. S- So, you store data there when you need quick access to it. While for the S3, for the for the Glacier Deep Archive, you store data that you really need access to, but you need to still keep them for long time use. So, when you use S3, sorry, the deep Glacier Deep Archive, it is when you need the cheapest option for storing data for a very long period of time, and you don't mind like when you're about to retrieve data, you don't mind it taking hours, because when you want to retrieve that data from the Glacier Deep Archive, you have to wait for some hours before you can successfully retrieve the files that you store in the Glacier Deep Archive. While for the S3 standard, you can easily use it to store data that you need quick access to. You can also use it to host like static websites or application, and also you can use it to store your application's content. You can also use it to store your logs that you need to be having access to frequently. Things like that. I hope I explained it well.
Thanks so much, Moturayo. At the beginning of the session, I told you our speakers are so packed, and you could see that they didn't do anything less. This is not about sweet mouth or something. You could see the quality, and thank God that the session was recorded on YouTube. This is something that you can go on and go on. Okay, bro, Imran, thank you for acknowledging the response of the speaker. So, if there's any other question, please post to the comment section. While I'm expecting that, I will also like to remind you that this AWS series is actually a long packed series for you throughout the week. We still have our next session coming tomorrow. And really, the topic for tomorrow is dynamic scalability, auto scaling, and load balancing. Really, this is actually a session that you should look up to. And I won't in any way try to reveal who the speakers are. I've sent in the link of registering to the chat session for those who have not registered, so you'll be able to see more details. Similarly, on the day 4, we have streamlining DevOps, code pipeline, code build, code deploy. So, and lastly, a final day of our AWS series, we'll be having innovating with AI, AWS SageMaker. Really, whenever you hear something about AI, it should be something interesting. So you can see that the remaining days that we're having are so packed, really, and it's not something you don't want to miss. And don't forget, we are noting the level of participation, and we have some packages that we'll be giving to people that are actively during the series, and this will be announced during our conference coming up on 29th, AWS Cloud Conference. The theme is "The Future is Cloud," and you all agree with this, and it's really going to be an opportunity to listen to industry leaders. We have our keynote session coming from Amazon AWS, like a kind of a leader in the AWS section, and you don't want to miss that person. Similarly, we have several keynote panelists that will be joining us, different people that have made their journey in the cloud space, especially in the AWS. They will be discussing about really good things that will really help us in our career, how to use some, be very updated with latest technologies that will be helpful for in anywhere we find ourselves when we are talking about the AWS career. So don't let me say so much so that you say, what's wrong with this person? But I just want to give you a little bit of it. So please try and register. And I can't find any other question. I think the questions that we have has been answered. I just want to use this medium on behalf of the audience and the Authorite to thank our speakers once again. Abdurrahman, thanks so much. Moturayo Sanusi, thanks so much for the explanation, the presentation, the showing us some hands-on, some knowledge, information on the AWS console and taking us through this. I'm very sure looking at the responses of our audience, they have really gained quite a number of things tonight. And if without any further ado, if there's no other question, we would like to end the session for today. So I hope we'll see you guys tomorrow. Please share the links to your colleagues at work, to your friends, anyone interested. You can see that a lot of topics that we are even discussing, especially for these first 2 days and the remaining ones, are key topics that relate to even people that are just joining the cloud or interested in the cloud. These are key things that in the industry of the cloud, if you have knowledge of it and have skills about it, these are employable skills that you should know. And this could be the beginning. We are not saying that you'll be employable by just listening to a series, but being aware of some information really goes a long way. So with that, I leave you you guys to stay happy, stay healthy, and see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, and bye for now. All right, so